In 2019, we have accomplished so much together. We've seen 75 people find freedom through Growth Track, over 450 people serving on our teams, 107 people got baptized, and 950 people get saved. This is only because of your support and generosity. We're going to be putting 40% of today's offerings towards building and developing Skybreak Church through renovations, expansions, and updating our facilities. We know that buildings and parking lots don't change lives, but what goes on inside does. We believe that it is our responsibility to also reach beyond just our four walls. At the end of the year, we're going to be giving 30% of our legacy offering to local, national, and international missions. I want to tell you about just a few of them and what they're doing in our city and in our world. A local mission that we have been a part of for many, many years is SOS Ministries. Their purpose is to rescue, restore, and release people from drugs and gangs, abuse, poverty, and even violence. Another local mission is Still Creek Ranch. They focus on rescuing boys and girls from crisis environments like abuse, neglect, abandonment, and sexual exploitation, placing them in a safe, loving, Christ-centered home. Team Church is a national mission that equips teams to build churches to impact communities for Christ. There are over 250 churches that are involved in making a difference through Team Church's mission. Night of Hope is another major national mission we've contributed to for many years. Pastor Joel Osteen is the founder of Night of Hope, and they've had 200 services across America in many different cities, preaching the gospel and the message of hope. They've had over 2.6 million salvations that we have sown a seed into. In fact, Skybreak is one of the top 10 givers of Night of Hope. One of the international missions we're supporting starts right here in our church. Dr. Vincent Ohaju, a member of Skybreak, started the VOOM Foundation. They have partnered with 3 hospitals in Nigeria to train and educate their staff, providing them with necessary skills to start an open heart surgery program. VOOM's goal is to perform up to 200 surgeries per year at each hospital. Their mission is to provide impartial, sustainable healthcare programs dedicated to quality, focusing on the underprivileged and the underserved. Hunger Relief International is how we feed, clothe, and take care of the children in our orphanage in Haiti. On average, we have about 50 boys that we provide for each and every day. Just this year, Skybreak has given over 44,713 meals to these boys. Over the past few years, we've renovated their living spaces, their water system, and given them new clothes, toys, and bedding. Every Christmas, we provide a personalized gift and a Christmas meal for the entire orphanage. And we want to send a special donation to Hunger Relief International and all these missions through today's legacy offering. 30% of our legacy offering is to train and equip young leaders to change the world for Jesus. This provides resources to create environments and opportunities to develop and grow our kids, our students, and young leaders to stand taller, see farther, and accomplish more than previous generations. Just this week, we heard a story from a family that's in our church about how they're being impacted generationally through legacy offering, and we wanted to share their story with you. So Maritza, Matt, thank you for being with us here today, and Nico, thank you for being here today. We wanted to share your story, and we've been in this season of legacy, talking about legacy and the importance of legacy. And first off, Matt, you've pretty much grown up this church your whole life, and your parents came here, and this is 3 generations that is in this house. You have your parents, you, and then now the family you're building in this house.
And this is the only church that I've ever really known, you know.
Now you're getting to raise your family in this. And so a few weeks ago, Pastor Janet was on stage and she was talking about, the legacy offerings coming up and talking about, getting your whole family involved. And just a few days ago, something happened. Nico came out and started talking about legacy offering.
So when Pastor Janet took the stage, when she said it was important to get your kids involved, I knew that she was right about that. So when last Sunday after service, I talked to Nico, and I said, there's tithe and offering, which is the 10%, but there's the legacy offering.
Right.
And we both talked to him about what that meant and how that helps our church. And he sees church as, he calls it school. He loves school. He sees this as his school.
Wow.
He said, well, how can I help? And I said, well, you have money you've been saving for a long time. And you have money that you've been saving for Disney. And he's been saving it for like a year.
Wow.
And so we told him, that's your money, right? And so you can give that money or you cannot give that money. But whatever you do, you need to pray about it.
Yeah.
And so he said, okay. And so he goes to his room. And neither myself nor Matt knew what he was going to do.
Sure.
You thought he was probably just playing around in there. You thought he forgot.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we're sitting there, and I just thought, let me go check on him, So I go in there, and when I walk up to the door, I could hear him talking to him, like he was talking to a friend. It was just like, God, how much money do I give? Do I give none of it? Do I give some of it? All of it? I just want to know,
Wow.
just...
You walk in and he's having this full-on conversation with God.
Yeah, and so, I come back to the living room, and I tell her about it. I was like, hey, he's praying. He's actually, trying to figure out how much to give. And so, just as a parent, it's just kind of something like that happening at 6 years old,
Wow.
it's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And so when he comes back and he's talking to us and he asks, because let's be clear, he knew exactly what that money was, what it was going to go to. And he knew. We told him, look, that's your spending money. And the reason why we had this long discussion with him was because we didn't want him to think that this is just money that was throwaway money, right? We wanted him to understand that what you're doing has to be something that you have faith about.
Right.
There needs to be a connection between you and God and what you're doing.
Right.
He asked, are you going to be mad if I give nothing? And so we said, no, like there's no way we're going to be mad at you.
Right.
So whatever you're going to give, it has to be something that you're happy with.
Right. And so then he comes back and he says, I give all
I
of
want to
it.
give all of it.
And he knew that he didn't have to give everything.
Right.
He knew he could give nothing.
Right.
He understood that. Yeah, this stuff is for Disney, but you know what? God will always be there. You're always going to have a home
Right.
and food
He's gonna
and
provide.
love. And the things that you absolutely need, you will always have. And I fully thought that he was going to be like, okay, I'm going to give like 20% or $50,
Yeah.
And he said, no, I still want to give the full 200. And that was just, it blew me away because he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that's when I wanted to make sure of that he knew exactly what he was doing when he did it. And he did.
So you ended up catching a little bit of this on film, and you probably tried to do one of those sneaky mom films. I wanted to show that and see how that went. So let's take a look at it.
I wanted to give all of my money to church.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how much that is?
$200.
Okay. And did you pray about it?
Yes.
And so how do you know that's the right choice?
Because Daddy told me that I can make it bigger. I can make my church bigger.
Love you.
Love you.
Like I'm crying. Like, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm crying in that video.
Well, the thing is, that's amazing that, for one, you got it captured. But so, Nico, you decided to bring your money, and you've been saving up for Disney World, and you felt like God said, I want you to give all 200. I just want you to know I'm so proud of you. And at 6 years old, you are having that conversation with God, which is amazing because know that God will always be there. But the story doesn't end there, obviously. There's some more that's happened even since that video has taken place. So Madi, tell us what happened. You told him when God will always provide. Sometimes it's not always instant, but then something happened the next day.
Right.
So tell us about that.
So I was actually at work, and I'm a prosecutor, and Jarvis Parsons is my boss, which that's another story, because I met Jarvis and Amy here at church during the production of The Messiah. One of the things that you get is that you get a special paycheck that says, hey, you've been with our county for so long. Here's a special bonus, basically.
Absolutely.
I'm not used to getting that. It takes a little while. It takes, I think, like 5 years in order to get it, or 4 years in order to get it. And so the very next day, I get an email that longevity pay came through. And I went to Jarvis and I said, you'll never believe, look at this. Like, look at what just happened. The thing about Jarvis is that in our office, what you see here at our church is who he is there to.
Yeah.
And he said, you have to take it to Nico. You have to show him how what you told him that night or last night, like it's being fulfilled today.
Absolutely.
And so I took it back to Nico because I wanted him to see that what I said to you last night about God always coming through, look at this. Like that $200 that you thought you didn't know what was going to happen. You had faith. Here it is.
Right.
And so it was a spinoff from what we had heard in church about how when you think you only have enough oil, right, for one meal, just have faith.
Absolutely.
Like, just do it. Just have faith and trust in God's peace and that he will always provide. And if you do it, he'll come through.
That's right.
And he did it immediately. And so I thought it was pretty cool.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. Now, he's carrying the legacy that's standing on y'all's shoulders to be able to see farther and accomplish more. And so thank you so much for y'all being here today. I'm so thankful to be able to share that story, and I know it's going to help a lot of people. Thank you so much.